You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. There is new information about a murder suspect killed in a shootout with U.S. Marshals in Billings last week. 19-year-old Kellen Fortune died in a hail of gunfire on Cook Avenue last Thursday evening after police say he exchanged shots with U.S. Marshals who were attempting to take him into custody. No officers were injured in that gunfire. We now know that Fortune had been on the run from authorities in Colorado since November of last year, where he was wanted for first-degree murder. According to Colorado Springs Police Department, detectives identified Fortune as a suspect in a shooting that left another teen dead. 19-year-old Alicia Velapondo was shot and injured in a fight in a parking lot. Now, he was found inside his vehicle suffering from life-threatening injuries, died later in the hospital. The Colorado Springs Police Department Violent Task Force determined Fortune was here in Billings, alerted U.S. Marshals who located him in the 700 block of Cook Avenue. At least 6 federal officers fired at Fortune, who died there on the scene. Billings Police Department detectives are conducting an investigation into the officer-involved shooting. In Bighorn County, 2 people were killed last night after being struck by a vehicle. That accident happened just after midnight on Highway 451, just outside Wyola. The driver, a 19-year-old from Sundance, Wyoming, told officers he did not see the couple before hitting them. Drugs, alcohol, and speed are not suspected to have played a role in that fatal accident. Montana health officials reported 9 new coronavirus cases today. We already told you about 3 of those from Bighorn County yesterday. And now, earlier today, Bighorn County is reporting 2 new cases, a female in her 20s and another female in her 40s. One of the patients was asymptomatic while the other did have symptoms. The county now has 31 active cases. Yellowstone County also saw 1 more case, and Dawson County reported a positive case, that being a man in his 60s. Montana now sits at 163 active cases with 572 people recovered. 15 patients do remain hospitalized. Well, despite the recent spike in cases in Bighorn County, Little Bighorn Days is still on for 2020. However, what is normally a full weekend event will now be held this Saturday from 11 until 9 p.m. The parade starts, the festivities off at 11, and the street concert will close the night out from 6 until 9. The theme this year, celebrating essential workers and saluting Bighorn County patrons. COVID guidelines and restrictions will be posted and encouraged at all events, and unlike most years, they're asking that only Bighorn County residents attend.
Well, to keep the public safe, we do have the event coordinators that we've met with them at least 3 times over the last probably week, and they have laid out a very detailed plan, including social distancing. They've got waivers that they'll sign off. They'll be handing out masks. They'll be discussing all the implications of, COVID-19. This is an opportune time for Bighorn County residents to learn a lot more about COVID. And basically, we want to make certain that everybody stays safe and has a good time in a very appropriate fashion. And we'll have monitors there and others to make certain people are compliant.
Well, President Trump held a campaign rally in Arizona as cases of the coronavirus spiked there and in more than 24 other states. That event in Phoenix comes just days after his rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the president once again used an offensive racist term to refer to the virus. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Trump rallied young supporters in Arizona, one of 25 states seeing a surge in coronavirus cases.
We're here today to declare that we will never cave to the left wing and the left wing intolerance. And that is why we must prevail on November 3rd. We have to prevail. Get out there.
Those attending the Phoenix rally were asked to sign liability waivers, and organizers handed out masks, but not everyone was wearing them.
It's got all different names. Wuhan. Wuhan was catching on. Coronavirus, right? Kung flu, yeah.
Ahead of the rally, the president held a roundtable on border security in Yuma.
Illegal immigration is down 84% from this time last year.
The president also toured border wall construction, one of his signature 2016 campaign issues. President Trump is facing criticism for holding rallies amid the pandemic. 8 members of the campaign's advance team have tested positive for the coronavirus after setting up this past weekend's rally in Tulsa.
So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
As he left the White House for Arizona, the president was asked if he was joking when he made those comments.
I don't kid. Let me just tell you, let me make it clear. By having more tests, we find more cases.
Task force officials at a congressional hearing testified they have not been asked to slow down testing.
To my knowledge, none of us have ever been told to slow down on testing. That just is a fact.
Presumptive Democratic presidential nominee and former Vice President Joe Biden called President Trump's decision to hold the event in Arizona reckless and irresponsible. Natalie Brent, CBS News, the White House.
Well, the city of Phoenix had mandated wearing masks in public, but said it wouldn't enforce their use at the rally. Organizers of the event said masks were optional. Montana senior U.S. Senator Jon Tester says he doesn't support the current GOP police reform bill that could hit the Senate floor as early as tomorrow. Speaking with the KTVQ editorial board today, Tester said the new Justice Act doesn't go far enough to address racial injustice issues that become the focus of nationwide protests following the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Tester said the time for action is now, but said right now there's no consensus on the proposed police reform bill. As for the nation's battle against COVID-19, Tester told us he believes the Trump administration's denial about the seriousness of the coronavirus outbreak cost us valuable time and lives.
I think it's dangerous to blow off as a hoax. And, I guess, out of 330 million people, 120,000 people dying ain't that many. But the truth is that I think it's a big deal. And I think it could get worse. And I think people look to a certain extent to people like me and like governor and to a greater extent to the president when they see him doing things like not wearing a mask or just saying, oh, this is no big deal, or the thing's over with now, don't worry about it. I think you can say that, but the truth is it's not truthful. It's not reality. And I think that's dangerous.
Asked if he's optimistic the U.S. economy will bounce back, Tester said yes, but feels it will take longer than most people wish. The keys, he said, identifying a treatment against COVID and a vaccine. Dr. Fauci did predict today that would be available by the start of next year. More evidence has surfaced that Montana Republicans and their allies are the financial force behind efforts to promote the Green Party candidate in the state's U.S. Senate race. Last month, the Go Green Montana PAC was formed to promote Green Party Senate candidate Wendy Frederickson of Helena. Well, now MTN News has learned that all $45,500 of the PAC's money came from a conservative Texas-based group called CSG Action. That group has ties to a Texas oil and gas executive who's given money to the Montana Republican Party and the campaign of Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines. The executive, Tim Dunn, also spent $2.2 million in 2018 on a group formed to campaign against Democratic U.S. Senator Jon Tester. The Montana Democratic Party says the effort to promote Frederickson and the Green Party is a Republican subterfuge meant to help Daines win re-election this year. Daines is engaged in what's expected to be a close contest with his Democratic challenger, Governor Steve Bullock. Montana Republicans say their push to get the Green Party on the ballot was meant to give voters more choices this November. Well, on September 15th, Billings voters will receive a mail ballot asking to increase a public safety mill levy that was passed back in 2004. If that's approved, that levy would bring in $4 million additional dollars to the city to help pay for the police and fire departments. Billings Mayor Bill Cole told Q2 today that the city council is counting on that levy passing, or else large cuts could be down the road for city departments. That levy would increase taxes about $57 per year on a Billings home worth $211,000. This levy doesn't increase public safety services. Instead, it's more of a stopgap measure.
We want to be transparent with the voters and make it clear that the September levy will not completely close our budget gap, and it won't provide those new resources for public safety. Therefore, it's likely that we're going to have to come back to the voters in future years. Right now, this is simply triage, and some may criticize the city council for not asking for more.
The mayor said that the economic uncertainty brought about from COVID-19 is what shifted the city council's appetite towards a smaller levy ask. Well, Zoo Montana has a new family member, and if you're wondering what type of animal it is, take a listen. Simpson is a 7-week-old gray wolf pup found abandoned on private property near Condon, Montana. He was spotted by property owners after seeing him walking up their driveway. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks were called to the scene, and they placed Simpson in the care of Zoo Montana. The staff promises to keep everyone up to date with his progress and hopefully some more cute pictures like that one. Zoo Montana is now open to the public but does have COVID restrictions in place. For more information on the zoo and Simpson, you can visit KTVQ.com. Still to come on tonight's 9 o'clock news, teamwork. Q2's partnering with Billings Family Services and Master Lube with the goal of raising $12,000 and 12,000 pounds of food. We'll have those details in just a bit. But first, Bob McGuire's in with your full 7-day forecast.